Big storms are coming to the United States over the next few days, and they will produce severe weather in the form of damaging winds, large to very large hail, and tornadoes, in addition to some locally heavy rainfall, which could cause some localized flooding across parts of the United States over the next few days as well. A major heat wave will start building for the 4th of July holiday weekend. We're going to talk about that, how hot temperatures will get, and the tropical weather update at the end of the video. So if you are here and you are not subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We do daily weather breakdowns right here at Weather on the Go. Like the video, give it a thumbs up if you do enjoy the video throughout, and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. If you have any comments, questions, and concerns, make sure you jot that down in the comment section down below this video. Looking here at the slight risk of severe weather in two separate areas. A slight risk means scattered severe thunderstorms will be possible from New Jersey back into southeastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and over here into northern Virginia, Trenton, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, D.C, Dover, all the way down into the Richmond area. We have the chance for some scattered severe thunderstorms in the dark green from southern Maine all the way back here into Louisiana, Mississippi, and southeastern Arkansas. That's where isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible. And then we have another slight risk over here in southwestern portions of South Dakota into the Nebraska Panhandle. That's where scattered severe thunderstorms will once more be possible this afternoon and this evening. The threats for the storms will be for damaging straight line winds, 60 to perhaps 70 miles per hour. That will be most likely here from New Jersey into southeastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, down here into Maryland and northern Virginia. But it also is possible anywhere from southern Maine back here into Louisiana, Mississippi, and southeastern Arkansas, or up here into South Dakota, western Nebraska, and northeastern Colorado as well in those brown shaded colors. We are looking at a hail threat primarily back here in the high plains, so southwestern portions of South Dakota near Rapid City, down here into the Nebraska Panhandle and West Nebraska. That's where we could be seeing quarter, even half dollar size hailstones. And thankfully today the tornado risk is less than 2%, so a very unlikely chance of tornadoes as we go through the afternoon and evening, primarily looking at gusty winds and hail. Let's start over here into the northeast, mid-Atlantic, and southeastern view. You can see there are some scattered showers and thunderstorms on the radar here at noon. These storms will move eastward, and as they do, they will continue to mature as the daytime heating continues, as the sun warms up the surface of the earth, and that gives you plenty of storm energy. And there you go. You get the storms that produce those gusty winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour, some hail, and a very low tornado risk, less than 2%. And as we go into the mid-afternoon, those storms will approach the big cities here. So we're talking Trenton, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Dover, down into the Washington, D.C. area, Richmond, and Roanoke, keeping a very close eye on these areas in particular, as millions of people could be impacted by some severe weather this afternoon. And going into the evening hours, those storms will be slow to leave, but they'll be pushing to the east. And as we lose the daytime heating, the most intense storms will start to wane in intensity as we go into the late evening hours after 9 o'clock, getting into the midnight hour as well. Locally heavy downpours will be accompanying these storms, so not only could we be seeing damaging winds, large hail, and a very low tornado risk, but there could also be some very heavy and torrential downpours. Could be seeing upwards to 3 inches of rain if you get multiple areas of thunderstorms over the same areas. There could be also some spots that see less than a quarter inch of rain or little to no rain, so definitely seeing more of a isolated to scattered coverage of some showers and storms this afternoon and going into the evening hours, waning after midnight. Back here to the high plains, we're looking particularly at southwestern South Dakota, western Nebraska, down here into northeast Colorado. Quiet here at noon. That continues into the early afternoon, but by the time we hit about 3 to 5 o'clock, mid to late afternoon, we're going to start to see some scattered thunderstorms develop here. First in Wyoming and Colorado. Those will push eastward, though, into southwestern portions of South Dakota, western Nebraska, including the Nebraska Panhandle, and they could pose a risk for gusty winds, some hail, and a very low tornado risk in addition to some downpours. Those will really start to fall apart as we get toward the midnight hour. Additional storms could fire up there in northern South Dakota, dropping southeast into early Wednesday morning into eastern South Dakota, northwest Iowa, and into Minnesota. Those will mainly be heavy rain producers, but there could be some cloud-to-ground lightning and some smaller hail with those as well. Going into tomorrow on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2 areas where isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible. Michigan, back here through Wisconsin, Minnesota, northern Iowa, into eastern South Dakota, and then more isolated severe thunderstorms possible from Montana into central Idaho and eastern Oregon as well. And again, the same deal for tomorrow. We got gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour possible, and in the brown shaded color across the upper Midwest here toward the central Great Lakes. That's where we could be seeing some quarter, even $half size hail. And again, thankfully tomorrow, the tornado risk is less than 2%. So looking here at the Midwestern view, we are seeing some thunderstorms back there toward Minnesota as we start the day at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Going into the noon hour, those storms will be pushing southeast into central Iowa, and as they approach the Des Moines and Ames, Iowa area and Waterloo, they will be on a weakening trend. There could be a couple rogue showers, maybe a rumble of thunder by the time we get to midday. But other than that, things will be pretty quiet out there. We're going to see storms fire by the time we get into the late afternoon after 4 o'clock and going through about 10 o'clock, and they will be fairly isolated and widely scattered. So notice a lot of us, probably 80% of us in the Midwest, will remain dry. And as we go into the Thursday morning time frame, that continues to remain the case. Looking here out west from Montana into central Idaho and eastern Oregon, we also have a marginal risk where isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible tomorrow. This is mainly because of an influx of moisture from the monsoon across portions of the desert Southwest that could bring some microburst type of thunderstorms that bring a lot of wind, right? The thunderstorms collapse on themselves. They spread wind out in all directions here, kind of like a fan, and you can see from eastern Oregon into central Idaho and Montana, where we have a lot of that instability building, that's where those scattered thunderstorms will be, and a few isolated severe thunderstorms will be as well. Now going into Thursday, July 3rd, marginal risk in the Northeast, including Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, getting into Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, back here into central portions and eastern portions of Pennsylvania, into northern New Jersey, including Long Island there in New York as well, and so New York City, Albany, all the way up there into Concord, Boston, Hartford, and Providence. We could be seeing some isolated severe weather on Thursday, and then more isolated severe weather here into areas of the western Dakotas and eastern Montana as well. So going to Thursday, again, monsoonal flow there from portions of Wyoming into Montana. That could spark some thunderstorms in western Dakotas, and then some isolated storms there into the Northeast that could be affecting areas like New York City, Boston, Hartford, and Providence, and even coastal areas of Maine as we go into Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Let's look beyond that. So the 4th of July holiday looms here this week, and on Friday, July 4th, we have another disturbance rounding that ridge, and that is going to produce some scattered severe thunderstorms across the upper Midwest. Minnesota, western Iowa, and eastern Nebraska are most in line for that as we go into Friday evening. That could affect some fireworks celebrations out there, so make sure you have a radar app handy and ready to go for Friday evening. Saturday, the cold front moves into portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, and northern Illinois. That could bring some scattered showers and thunderstorms there as we go into Saturday afternoon and evening on July 5th. And then July 6th, to round out the holiday weekend, that will be a slow-moving cold front, but areas like Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Kansas City, St. Louis, and Chicago want to be on alert for the potential of some stronger thunderstorms on Sunday. And then into early next week, we're just going to have multiple rounds of showers and storms evolving off the northwest flow. They're going to drop from northwest to southeast, from the upper Midwest into the Ohio Valley, and they could produce damaging winds primarily, but also some hail and a few tornadoes, in addition to some locally heavy rainfall. You can see on the European model here, going through Saturday, July 12th into the second week of July, we have some pretty heavy rains with these storms from the Dakotas into the Central Plains, perhaps into the Midwest as well. But there also will be the have-nots that don't see much rain. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit further north you go, you may not see a lot of that rainfall as we go into the second week of July. Let's look at the heat wave that is going to be building for the holiday weekend upcoming. And you can see right now we got a little bit of a trough in southeastern Canada. That is creating northwest flow today into the Midwest, Great Lakes and Ohio Valley over here into the Northeast. And lower humidity is resulting from that. But a ridge is actually going to build back just in time for July 4th there in the Mississippi Valley, and that means temperatures will be soaring back into summer-like territory. So here we go on today for Tuesday, July 1st. Phoenix, 113. This is after we were at 116 yesterday in record highs. Back to 113 this afternoon, just a smidge cooler. 80s and comfortable 80s across the Midwest into the Great Lakes as we go into this afternoon. Lower humidity, most importantly. Going into tomorrow and Wednesday, July 2nd, notice the 90s building in across the plains. It's all that heat into the desert Southwest. Got to go somewhere. And as it shifts east with that ridge, we're going to see 90s building across a large chunk of the central and eastern United States. And just in time for July 4th, the Chicago lakefront, we could be in the mid-90s, 95 there. 90 degrees in Milwaukee, 90 there in Des Moines, and 93 in St. Louis. So it's going to be warming up, and that's just your air temperature. The heat index could be close to 100, and then as we go into next weekend, cold front will bring relief to the upper Midwest, like Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, back into the 70s and lower humidity by the time we end the holiday weekend. And as we warm our temperatures up during the day, the nighttime lows are going to be warmer as well, but enjoy it today, because as we go into tomorrow morning, we're going to see upper 50s to mid 60s, maybe enough to crack open those windows early in the mornings. And then as we go into the 4th of July morning, we're going to see a lot of 70s out there and some record warm lows as well for the Dakotas, Nebraska, back here into portions of Minnesota. And then as we go into Saturday morning, that looks to be the warmest morning across the central U.S., where areas all the way up into the UP of Michigan could even be in the low 70s for lows as we go into Saturday, July 5th morning. And then as that cold front comes back, the 50s and 60s for lows come back as well. Let's talk about the tropics here. We are looking at Hurricane Flossie that is formed in the East Pacific Ocean just off the coast of Mexico. And this is a formidable 100-mile-per-hour hurricane moving northwest at 10 miles per hour right now. This is forecast to become a Category 3 hurricane by tomorrow morning on Wednesday at 6 a.m. and then quickly falling off to a Category 2, Category 1, and then a post-tropical cyclone once it moves to the west there of the Baja of California. But that is something we're watching, is the system's trajectory. It will be causing indirect impacts to western coastline of Mexico, whether that's rough surf and rip current risks, or even some banding of some showers and thunderstorms that causes some flash flooding there. Something we're keeping a close eye on here over the next 48 to 72 hours. But as this moves to the west of the Baja of California, it will lose its steam, lose its luster by the time we get to the 4th of July holiday. Now let's look here at the Atlantic Basin, because the Atlantic Basin does have some interest near Florida and off the Carolina coast. 30% chance, pretty much a low probability, but something to keep an eye on. It is hurricane season as well in the Atlantic Basin, so we have to watch all areas, including the Caribbean and the Gulf. And right now, it looks to be like a frontal boundary that brings some moisture and mainly tropical rains across Florida and just off the coast of the Georgia and the Carolinas. Nothing that really spins up or anything. So mainly a tropical rain system, if anything, evolves from that over the next few days. Now, looking here at the dust across the Atlantic Basin, yeah, a lot of dust coming off the Saharan desert there in Africa, and that is actually moving into the main development region here as we speak, and this is going to be moving into the Lesser Antilles by the time we get to the 4th of July, the Greater Antilles and Caribbean by the time we get to next Monday on July 7th, and then the air quality could actually get lower for the Yucatan and crossing over the Gulf into coastal Texas and Louisiana by the middle of next week. We're eyeing up on Wednesday, July 9th, Thursday, July 10th, and Friday, July 11th for the arrival of that dust, maybe some hazy looking skies in Houston, Lake Charles, and New Orleans by the time we get towards the middle and later portion of next week. And finally, to round out the forecast here, we're going to look at your fire weather outlook for today. It is critical across portions of Nevada, especially eastern and central Nevada. Make sure, again, if you have any controlled burning over there, campfires, that you don't get them out of control, because they can get out of control very, very quickly. Dry thunderstorm risk as well from eastern Idaho all the way south into northern Arizona, and then as well from Oregon into northern California today, and then more dry thunderstorms in those areas from Nevada into Utah and western Wyoming that could spark fires as we go into Wednesday, tomorrow, July 2nd. Elevated fire weather concerns are up in the Pacific Northwest tomorrow across Washington State and northern Oregon. Thursday, it migrates southward again into western Nevada, and then by the time we get to the 4th of July, elevated fire weather concerns continue into central and eastern Nevada and southwestern Utah. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. You know what to do. You subscribe, you get daily weather forecast breakdowns. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, family member on social media. If you have any comments, questions, and concerns, make sure to jot that down in the comment section down below this video. We're here 24/7, all day, all night, to answer any and all questions that you may have. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday out there.